global gender inequality picture on the basis of sustainable development goals. We have formulated sustainable development goals in 2015. There were total 17 sustainable development goals. But in terms of all the goals, how for women's empowerment or women's equality has been established, in this video I would like to tell about that. You see, the number one goal of the sustainable development goal was no poverty, right? But it seems that in last few years, up to 2015 to 2023, it says that in current trends, if this current trend continues, over 340 million women and girls will still live in extreme poverty by 2030. The Sustainable Development Goals were aimed to achieve no poverty from the globe or from the world, but it seems no, this is a fact, that 340 million women and girls will still live in extreme poverty by 2030 if the progress continues at this pace, right? So progress will need to be 26 times faster to reach the no poverty goal by 2030. So the countries in the world will have to expedite their initiatives or their activities to ensure no poverty from the world. If they want to see a poverty-free world, then the countries will have to work 26 times more than the current pace, right? And then number two, zero hunger. If you want to eradicate hunger from the globe, then you will have to do a lot of works, because it seems that 1 in 4 women and girls are expected to be moderately or severely food insecure by 2030. 1 in 4 in the globe, right? So addressing gender gaps in agro-food systems can reduce food insecurity as well as boost global GDP by nearly $1 trillion US. So it is a very grave situation, because 1 in 4 women and girls are expected to be moderately or severely food insecure by 2030. So the progress of sustainable development works by the countries are not expected, right? So they have to expedite their works and activities if they want to see a hunger-free world. Number 3, global health and well-being. So between 20 and 2020, maternal mortality rate has been declined by 1/3 globally. It's a good trend, from 339 to 223 deaths per 1 million live births. Okay, but progress has stalled since 2015. So good health and well-being needs to be more taken care of by the governments, right? Equality education. Number 4, sustainable development goal talks about quality education, but in the aggregate, girls have surpassed boys in school completion across all levels of education, but completion rates remain below 100. Okay, right? So this is not a good trend. Only 60% of girls have completed schooling at the upper secondary level compared to 57% of boys. So it seems that girls are, yeah, definitely they are doing better, but still 60% girls have completed schooling, right, at the upper secondary level compared to 57% of boys. In this sphere also, girls are ahead of 3 percentage points. But still 100% accomplishment of quality education is necessary for both boys and girls. That's why all the governments of the world need to formulate policies and work for achieving this goal. Number 5, gender equality. Gender equality as the Sustainable Development Goal stimulus targeted at gender equality objectives is key for transformational impact. An additional 360 billion per year is needed to achieve gender equality and women's empowerment across key global goals, right? So if the members of the United Nations want to create a gender equal society, gender equal economy, gender equal politics, then they will have to spend 360 billion per year. Each country, they all will have to spend 360 billion per year to achieve. So all the taking all the countries should spend 360 billion per year to achieve gender equality and women's empowerment across key global goals, including to end poverty and hunger, right? So strong legal frameworks can promote positive change. So there is a recommendation also in the snapshot of gender of the Sustainable Development Goals in terms of women's empowerment. So strong legal frameworks can promote positive change, but despite progress, 54% of countries still lack laws in all key areas of gender equality, including an equal rights to enter marriage and initiate a divorce, right? So globally, women hold just 26% of seats in parliament. Only 26.7% seats are being held by women in the world, 35.5% in local governments, and 28.2% of managerial positions in the workplace. At this critical midpoint, none of goal 5 indicators are at target met or almost met. A mere 2 are close to target, 8 are at a moderate distance of target, 4 are for a very form of target. Okay, number 4 lacks sufficient data to assess the global level. This is a significant improvement from last year, where 5 indicators lacked sufficient data. Number 6, clean water and sanitation. Sustainable Development Goal number 6 talks about clean water and sanitation. Water is life. Everybody will admit that without water we cannot live. So 380 million women and girls live in a context of high and critical water stress. So this number is projected to increase to 674 million by 2050. All right. Number 7 of Sustainable Development Goal talks about affordable and clean energy. Achieving universal electricity across could reduce the number of women and girls in poverty by 185 million by 2050. Right. So this is an alarming situation. Number 8 talks about decent work and economic growth. Only 61.4% of prime working age women are in the labor force, compared to 90.6% of prime working age men, right? So in 2019, for each dollar men earned in labor income globally, women earned only 51 cents. So there is a complete disparity between the earnings of men and women. Okay, number 9 talks about industry, innovation and infrastructure. But what is the situation in this sphere? A mere 17% of inventions in international patents in 2020 were women, compared to 83% men. So women's position in inventions or in the international patent inventions in 2022 was very low, only 17%, but men were dominating with 83%, right? So number 10 it's 6, the Sustainable Development Goal wants or 6 to reduce inequalities. But what happened? Women are twice as likely as men to report instances of discrimination based on sex, and almost twice as likely as men to experience discrimination on the basis of marital status. So this is also a grave situation. This is not the picture of India alone. This is the global picture, right? Number 10. Number 11, sustainable cities and communities. Unless urban planning and adequate housing are prioritized by 2050, on an estimated 1.05 billion women and girls will live in slum or slum-like settings around the world, right? So we have to give more emphasis on building sustainable cities and communities. Number 12 talks about responsible consumption and production. And number 12, number 13, climate action. Number 14, life below water. Number 15, life on land. In all these four cases, in all these four goals, the situation in 2023 is in a worst case climate scenario by 2050, as many as 158 million women and girls globally may be pushed into poverty as a direct result of climate change. There is time when the national governments or all the member countries of the United Nations should take care of all this. Otherwise, our fellow women citizens or women population in the world, 158 million women and girls globally may be pushed into poverty as a direct result of climate change. Food insecurity is caused by climate change is also projected to increase by as much as 236 million more women and girls. So climate action should be taken by all the governments or all the member countries of the United Nations with a view to bring about parity or gender empowerment or gender equality, right? Number 16 goal, Sustainable Development Goal 16, talks about peace, justice, and strong institutions. The number of women and girls living in conflict-affected contexts reached 614 million in 2022. So 50% higher than the number in 2017. You see the recent conflict in Gaza and Israel, and prior to that, the conflict or the invasion of Russia on Ukraine has created or has caused displacement of people, particularly women. So as a result of war, as a result of these conflicts, 614 million girls and women have been affected. So this is 50% higher than the number in 2017. And last, goal number 17, it talks about partnerships for achieving sustainable development goals. Here we say, where we see the picture halfway to 2030 age to support gender equality programming remains inadequate, right? Only 4% of total bilateral aid is dedicated to programs where gender equality is the principal objective. Funding to gender equality is particularly low in the humanitarian aid sector. So all those things should be taken care of, and this is the grim picture of the women empowerment or women's equality in terms of sustainable development goals. I think that all the national governments or all the member countries of the world, all the member countries of the United Nations should read this snapshot of UN Women, and I think that they will take immediate action so that there can be gender equality or gender parity in all these 17 sustainable development, to achieve all these 17 sustainable development goals. Thank you very much.